Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot. I'm going to prop this up because I've had to make an adjustment as to where I normally do my readings at because my corner table is it's in darkness. So that's good, but that's too far away. So let me prop up a little bit. I'm going to be known as the person who has the worst lighting on the channel. Anyhow, this is actually good, but it's going to be changing anyhow as I'm talking. All right, so we are Friday, the 13th of November, and it is 2:06. Today, I am going to be discussing the last decan, the third decan for the month of September, or the month of October, and that'll be 20 to 30 degrees. And this coincides a little bit into Sagittarius that we will move into next week. But the focus here will be for Scorpio, giving all the love and attention to Scorpio in its last 7 to 10 days in its sign. And also today, the moon moved into Scorpio. Tomorrow night, 9:07 p.m., I believe. Yes. 9:07 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the West Coast, the new moon is going to be in Scorpio. So I'm going to discuss a little bit about that in relation to the 20 to 30 degree Decan card that I'm working with for this week. And then the Seven of Cups is the card of influence for this Decan. And I will explain each time I do my 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 decans, exactly what that is. Because I know there are people coming in and they're like, what's a decan? She's just talking about numbers and signs and whatnot. So a decan, let me adjust again. So a decan is basically, now it looks solarized. A decan normally is about 10 days, and it rules with each astrological month 10 degrees within those 10 days, 7 to 10 days. So 0 to 10 will be the first 7 to 10 days of the decan of that astrological month. So I hope that makes sense. So we're in the month of Scorpio, but we're wrapping it up come next week. So we're in the last 7 to 10 days. Decan means 10. So 20 to 30 wraps up planets that go through each decan. Each month there's a different planet or star that is assigned to each astrological sign for that month. Okay, so we went through the first two decans, and now we are wrapping it up with the moon in Scorpio. Depending on what system you work with, if you follow the Golden Dawn tradition for astrological correspondences, this is actually seen as Venus in Scorpio. Okay. And I'll explain a little bit about those two, but I don't want to throw out too much information and then you get confused. So for this ending week of Scorpio, I've been working with the Unified Esoteric Tarot for the last few months. And this has been a wonderful perspective to take from someone else's system that they created that incorporates alchemy, astrology, and the tarot, the major and minor arcana, and the elements. So this is the Unified Esoteric Tarot. And for each decan, there is a key word that is assigned to represent that that week. Here, the creator of this deck, his name is Attila Blaga. And you cannot see it there. It's sensuality for this last decade. And that actually sits very comfortably with Scorpio. But with sensuality, for this card and for explaining Scorpio, I want to focus more on the word passion. The moon in Scorpio. This is a card to meditate with for the next few days as we are in the new moon in Scorpio with the sun in Scorpio. Use this time. Moon energy, I'm going to put this down. Moon energy affects the emotions. It affects how we feel, our moods. It's ebb and flow of the tides of the ocean. We are made out of a high number, we being the body, a high percentage of water. So we are very affected by shifts with water, how much we take water-wise. If there isn't enough water, we obviously feel depleted. But with the moon in Scorpio, Scorpio is a water sign. Moon rules water. It rules movement. It rules shifts, but this is all on the emotional plane. So for sensuality with this card, I want to follow this more for passion, the drive that we have. Moon in Scorpio. Scorpio deals with the darker side of things, especially when the moon is placed in that sign. It likes to go into the hidden realms of things. It feels comfortable in the dark. One of the favorite colors I would say of a Scorpio is the color black. It makes them feel comfortable. It's actually empowering. Going into our subconscious, going into the darker side. Scorpios, I've been saying this during the month of Scorpio. Scorpio has no fear. They have no fear. They want to know. They want to understand what's going on. So with sensuality or passion, their drive to do something, their drive to really get to the core of a situation is very strong. This is also a good time to do personal work. If there's something, if you have your moon in Scorpio, if there's something that has been bothering you, and I think with a Scorpio, especially if someone has their moon in Scorpio, they really need to get to the crux of what's causing that issue, that discomfort. They have to go in the power of Mars and Pluto, which rules Scorpio. They have to seek. They have to find. Mars is that driving force. And then once they find it, that's where Pluto's influence comes in. And they get to that source and they take it apart. They take it apart and they look at everything. They analyze, they see, they feel to really understand what the issue is. So with Moon in Scorpio, it's a good time to really get to that darker side of who we are. And ever since Samhain and Halloween in the month of October, and probably right through the season of winter, this is a time of introspection. We're reflecting on things, really trying to put a better direction, a better understanding as to how to do things for the next year. So also, as I mentioned, the card of influence is the Seven of Cups. The reverse of this is debauchery. I normally don't discuss the reversals of this card, but just very quickly. It's overindulgence. It's maybe embracing that dark side. If there's any addiction issues, obsessive compulsive behavior, using it in a way that goes against you and those around you, that's the opposite of passion, sensuality. There's no sensuality in debauchery. Debauchery is also an action. So you could automatically get lost in the whole realm of the senses of what's going on. And, you know, you keep going down that rabbit hole, the downward spiral. We have to be careful with that, especially Moon in Scorpio, where it's very comfortable for people to be in the dark. You don't want to stay there for too long. That's my mantra for Scorpio. Embrace the darkness. We need to know. We need to feel that fear and that uncertainty and explore it. But if you feel it's not getting you anywhere, don't stay stuck there. Don't become stagnant. It's time to move out. It's a fixed sign, Scorpio. So once they're set on their ways, they're pretty much well there. They're very loyal, but you know, with any of the fixed signs, if you cross any of these fixed signs, you're asking for a conflict, which is challenging. I have 2 fixed signs in my immediate chart, so it's kind of hard to change me, but I stay open-minded. But once I really find the answers in things, you know, I rationalize it, I feel it. If it feels right, I'm there. You know, I'm going to stick to it, whether it's good or bad. You know, that's my choice, and that's the direction that. But that's the decision that I make. So choices and decision. I did mention the 7 of Cups. So I posted this on Instagram. I pulled 3 cards. 2 cards more or less have similar meanings, but visually I wanted people to look at the different cards. So for the 7 of Cups, okay, Cups is a water tool, water element. It's what fills us. As I mentioned, if we don't have enough of that influence of water in us, we get depleted, we get weak. It's a nutrient. Water revitalizes us. We need it. So the 3 cards that I pulled share different perspectives, and that's what I want to bring across when doing this reading for the Decan. And also I forgot to mention this Decan, but it's also on the title, is from November 13th, starting today, to November 21st. So the information that I've been sharing with you from the Unified Esoteric Tarot about passion, sensuality, the moon in Scorpio today, and it'll be in the sign for about 2.5 days, and then it's going to move on to Sagittarius. But utilize the power during this time. It's from November 13th to the 21st for the 3rd Decan, 20 to 30 degrees. Okay, so 7 of Cups. Okay, so I have the Pagan Otherworlds. And just overview, the 7 of Cups is about making choices, taking on the right opportunity, but really looking at what's available to you. What are those opportunities? In the Pagan Otherworlds, it almost looks like, it feels like angel devil. Okay, so here we have this angelic face. I believe that is a snake with a laurel on it. Laurel means success. While here, let's just use the skull to represent death. Pointing what looks to be a bloodied sword, or a fired up sword. It could be red from after being forged. And we're seeing two different perspectives here. Here we are seeing where the angel is actually, looks like it's coins. As I mentioned, that the laurel wreath means wealth and success. Here, this is more maybe material things, things that could distract you. And clearly we have the skull pointing, telling the viewer, telling the person who is experiencing this, this is the one. This is the card to take. Well, here, on the lighter side of things, it's not, there's no force, there's no direction. It's just, you make the choice that you feel is best. And you also want to make sure, you have to ask yourself, what is it that you fear or desire the most, that you are willing to take a chance on, or risk not moving forward? And again, that's what all the cups are. 7 of Cups specifically. What are these choices? We can't even see what's inside the cups. We don't know if it's full or not. We see the intention, we see the direction of these two conflicting entities. And if you make that choice where the skull's pointing to, it could be a good thing, but I think spiritually it's not going to be fulfilling. Monetary-wise, goal-oriented, career-wise, will probably be good, but you will probably be working so much that even though you're getting that abundance, spiritually you're not feeling fulfilled. And this is what I feel with this side is, the angelic side. It does show coins. You want to interpret that more as coins right there, going into the opposite side of the cup where the skull is pointing to. But again, that's your choice. And you have to be held responsible of what's going to happen after you make those choices. So that's what I'm saying. You could be making a choice that you feel is good, but financially, all that stuff, it's great. Spiritually, you feel like you have no soul anymore. You're just working yourself. So happiness, inner happiness of doing what you enjoy doing, or monetarily, making all the money, but you spiritually, it's just no longer fulfilling. You're working, you could possibly be having a job that, it's just money. It doesn't allow you to grow. Beautiful card. Paying reflections. Okay, I think we're going to go there. And the other card that's similar is, I'm working with the Lumina Tarot. Here's the Lumina Tarot. I'm trying to angle this so it's not so highlighty. So this is a different interpretation of the cups. Excuse me. So we see the cups, and they're entwined by the snake. And it's going up different levels. And with the Lumina Tarot, very similar to the Pagan Otherworlds, you do have choices, but what's important is make these choices quickly. You don't sit and wait. You've been presented with an opportunity, okay? Having several choices being offered to you doesn't come across very often. And these choices are serious. It involves one's well-being and the future of what's going to happen after those choices are made. So with the the Lumina Tarot, it's asking you to really focus on your dreams and make them happen. Look at the options that are there. Don't let any resistance or anything misleading hold you back. Make careful choices. Okay, and so being that this is with the cups, ruling the heart and intuition, follow that, but not solely the heart. You have to rationalize the situation as well. Okay. You could do choices because it feels good, but the premise of this card is making choices long-term that will benefit you. So it's going to involve careful thinking, looking at all the sides, okay? Each cup is an opportunity. You have to look at each situation that's offered in each cup. It's not easy. And again, I have mentioned about the card from the Unified Esoteric Tarot, referring sensuality, passion. Really move from your heart. What really moves, what really drives, what really stirs you to pursue what you really want to do. And again, the choices that you make, any challenges that come from it, don't back down from it. Face those situations. And again, don't overthink, don't overfeel all the opportunities that are being offered. Look at the cups. Look at both sides. The cup is round. You have so much space within that cup to really see what's being offered. So don't miss the opportunity. So a different perspective I have is, I've used this deck a few times. This is the DreamKeepers Tarot by Liz Houston. And there has just been a reissue of this deck, which is wonderful to hear. You can now get it through US Games. So this is the Seven of Cups, but what's different with this one is obviously the imagery. And the DreamKeepers, the focus here is, let's do this here. The focus with this card is the power of the imagination to inspire and to distort what we see. And that's another aspect of the Seven of Cups. It's illusion. We could be here with the Pagan Otherworlds, where these two energies, they're guiding you. They're trying to persuade you. They're trying to snake dance you. And you have to be careful where you're going to move with that. So here we're seeing, let me go a little closer. There are different faces for this card. Each of these faces, it's basically taking a different perspective, seeing what's being offered to you at many different angles. And when you do something like that, you have to go in with an unbiased mind. You have opportunities, you have these situations arising. You cannot be, I want to say judgmental, but don't go in with any preconceived ideas of thinking, okay, this cup, if I go this route, this path, I think it's going to be good. Really look at it. Really look at what's being offered. This is also disconnection of the self in this card. You pull yourself out of the situation. Let go of the ego. Let go of the conscious self. Like, oh, that's so pretty, or that's ugly. Let go of those conscious ego connections. And when you make these choices, go into these choices not knowing what's there. And judging it, viewing it, putting in that perspective on what's being offered to you right at that moment. Again, we don't know what's in these cups, so you're perfectly set up to make choices not knowing what's there, but without a bias point of view. Okay, these cups are all red, they're not different colors. You know, if there are different colors and you have a preference towards a color, you're going to lean towards that. So everything is the same. Again, we don't know how full, empty, if there's any information in these cards. And that's the best way to deal with the Seven of Cups. You know, let go of any fear. Again, an uncertainty that you may have. Because in doing so, if you're like, oh, there's so many decisions I don't know, you're not taking responsibility for yourself. This line's getting really, really intense. So stay unbiased. Don't lean towards one or the other. Go into it with a neutral state of mind and make your choices from there. Trust in the universe that your choice was made with clear intention from the heart and mind. And again, go here. And once you've made that choice, stay dedicated to it. You just made a commitment. Can't back down. So with the DreamKeepers Tarot, we're seeing a very interesting perspective, which I enjoy. And this is something that I will be talking about more. I actually like this lighting on my face. I'll be talking more about this fairly soon, about the conscious and subconscious realms when it comes to reading the tarot. And that's part of the process. That's part of the process when it comes to learning the tarot. But there are some decks that are coming out and they're really emphasizing how we need to connect and disconnect from ourselves. So, and the DreamKeepers Tarot is one of these decks. It gets you, the imagery gets you to not focus so much on the individual and focus more on the upper realms of what's going on, the lower realms, what's in between, how we connect to these aspects. And then again, just to recap, excuse me, because we have the Seven of Cups here, Lumina Tarot here, and Pagan Otherworlds. Choices being offered. Watch for the illusion. Watch for something that you may not be seeing entirely. Because whatever choice you make based on under those circumstances will set the course for you. And if there's anything negative that comes from it, you have to be held accountable for it. You have to take the responsibility. And if it ends up being something great, wonderful. To you, that may have been the right choice. There could be a lesson that needs to be learned from that. Okay, I also mentioned about Venus in Scorpio. Take a little bit more water. Venus in Scorpio. Venus rules leisure, comfort, things of pleasure. And when that planet is held in Scorpio, that can be a sign where, relationship-wise, it could show a sense of loyalty or over-possessiveness. And you have to create that balance. Venus and Scorpio. Scorpio are extremists. So when you have a planet that's coming in and it's either pushing that energy of Scorpio, its influence, or pulling it back, we have to create that balance, because it's going to end up being an extreme. It's going to be too much of one, too much of the other. And the planets are wonderful guides in helping us, create some sort of decorum in a situation that could be just too much or not enough happening. And also Scorpio is the 8th house of transformation. And that's where Scorpio holds its power, because it is wanting to grow, transform. Self-empowerment is another aspect. And the self-empowerment that Scorpio gets, it comes through their drive, through their love for, finding something that means so much to them. And they'll utilize it. And they'll utilize it the best way that they can. I'm just going to leave it like it is. And that's fine. But again, when you have an intense sign, the fixed signs, I feel, are really intense because they don't move. They're very set in their ways. And so there has to be some flexibility. And so gratefully, by looking at the other signs and planetary placements in their chart, they can maybe use those signs and planets to balance things out. So to wrap this up really quick, this is our Decan, our last Decan, 20 to 30 degrees. The third Decan for the month of Scorpio, from November 13th to the 21st. And I believe we move into Sagittarius on the 20th. But anyhow, after the 21st, I will do the 0 to 10 degree Decan, which is going from Scorpio to Sagittarius. And I will discuss the card of influence for that, how it will influence or could influence you for that week. Also, I have to keep in mind to say this towards the end of each video. These are astrological correspondences that were set through a system. This is not, as I mentioned, this is just timely. We are in the moon of Scorpio, and tomorrow goes into the new moon in Scorpio. But with other decans, different planets are going to come in. So whatever that planet is in that sign doesn't mean astrologically that it's current. You have to look, through astrological websites and astrological calendar to see where Mercury is, to see where the moon is. And let's say this card, it's stating moon in Scorpio. How about if we were going to moon in Aries? So what you would do is research the energy of that sign. We know what the moon does. Moon doesn't hold very well with fire signs because it's telling them to calm down, kind of slow things down for the next two and a half days. And then once the new moon or the full moon has gone through its phase, then you can make the needed changes or actions. But look at the planets. Look at the planets in relation to the signs, the house that it's in. Okay, Scorpio's transformation. So again, it's ruled by Mars and Pluto, tearing down, rebuilding, regenerating, coming out even stronger, better, different than from where you were before. And that whole process comes from, getting to that source and breaking it up. And when you're doing something like that, as I mentioned, Scorpio has no fear. It's going to go there. It's going to find it. It wants to know. And maybe that puts some people off because of the energy that Scorpio takes towards things. And so for some people, like, wow, this person is really going over the top. Why are they doing that? It's just who they are. I feel that each sign, the sun signs, let their energy be like it is. If it's a sign that's stubborn, that's inherent, especially if there's other signs that emphasize that. If it's signs that are in the realm of thought, that they're really, they use the rational side of approaching things than emotionally, let them be. The other signs and planets in the charts will dictate, where one person is a little bit more and another person is less. And also the elements of those signs. If you have a lot of fire signs, creative, active, always on the go. There's a lot of water, person feels more, the more nurturing. They may be more reactive from the heart because of that. It's a sign that's earth, grounded, strength, foundation. You can't move that. Let it be. And then, like I mentioned, air. Look at both sides of things. People feel with their minds. So try to get a balance between those and explore that. I love, in the last few months of doing tarot and astrology, merging them together. And again, I'm not an astrologer. I pull in aspects of astrology into readings because they do give, I feel, they narrow something that's broad, and you could get into more details based on the situation and the question that's being asked. And having a deck like this, or the Doth deck, or any deck that incorporates astrological correspondences, planetary references, this is wonderful. You can actually read with this deck. I haven't done it yet because I'm using it more for these online readings, but it's definitely a guiding source. And again, this is Attila's own perspective. He worked on this deck, the Unified Esoteric Tarot. He worked on creating a special system that incorporates the Kabbalah aspects, alchemy, astrology, tree of life, the tarot, the elements. He spent a long time creating this to share his perspective. And we're seeing this more. We're seeing more decks where I had mentioned this earlier, where symbols like that are being more incorporated. And I think that's really important. So that it's more than a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It becomes a deck that you can learn a little bit about astrology, tree of life, the Kabbalah, alchemy. So I think it's wonderful. Alrighty, so that's it. Friday the 13th, November 13th, 2020. We're 2:45. And this is our last decan, Moon in Scorpio. Focuses on sensuality, passion. We are in the moon of Scorpio. Tomorrow's the new moon. So let's get down to business and taking care of any work, dark work that needs to be done, and let go of it. Don't hold on to it, let go of it. It's very important. Alrighty, just a few quick things. Tomorrow, Saturday, November 14th, at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I am having a guest. Her name is Janine Worthington. And she created a deck, it's almost about a year ago, or it is already a year ago. She created the In-Between Tarot. And I will have her tomorrow joining me live, where we're going to be discussing the deck and the concept between the in-between transitions of the major and minor arcana. It's a wonderful idea. And being that I like to focus on those aspects of what we see and what we don't see in the tarot, conscious and subconscious. It's a wonderful deck, and there's 4 different stories involved with each of the elements that are in that deck. So it's quite nice. So that'll be tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope you can catch it. If you have the deck or if you're interested, tune in, ask questions. We're keeping the forum open. And then I'll be back next Wednesday. I'm so sorry for this lighting. I'll be back next Wednesday to do oracle readings for oracle decks that I have. And I'm debating. I may squeeze another video in between now and next Wednesday, because I want to try and do at least maybe 2 a week if I can. But I'm certain I have something set up that I need to share. So anyhow, as the sunlight's coming in, Mars went direct today. So congratulations, anybody who's Mars in Aries. Your energy should be shifting over the next few days. Getting things in gear. Okay, sun's coming. Vampire Witch here is going to be melting in a minute. Thank you so much. This is Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot. This is very humorous, so I appreciate your patience with this. And I will catch you tomorrow, Saturday, 12 p.m., and or next Wednesday or somewhere in between. All the information to contact me for readings are in the description. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thank you again.